Hi, today is our ScentTech Talks series, next episode. And today we will speak with Vinicius Santana, AI and chemical scientist. But before that, I would like to remind you that this ScentTech Talks series are supported by Latvia via Latvian Investment Agency and Norway via Norway Grants. Within the project Scent Recorder for improving emotional well-being. And within that project, we aim to build a scent recorder. This is design mockup, which have two parts. One is scent recorder, and second part is scent storage capsule. So, and with scent recorder, we aim to build that people could record scent, capture scent, and then release scent, change intensity, or erase. This is shortly like our introduction, and now let's start our talk. So maybe you can introduce yourself.
My name is Vinicius. As you mentioned, it's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to thank you for the invitation. I'm a PhD candidate at MIT Portugal program here in Portugal, and I'm primarily a chemical engineer. But nowadays, I'm working with machine learning, scientific machine learning, applied to modeling and simulation, including systems that involve scents. So I have been working on these over the last 4 years, and I plan to continue to do so.
And what do you think are the main significant scientific discoveries regarding scents?
I think that the latest great groundbreaking discovery regarding scents was this work from Lindbergh that led her to receive a Nobel Prize on the discovery of how the mechanisms of sense works in our body. I believe that the research started like 30 years ago, but she only received the Nobel Prize almost 10 years ago. And it was very groundbreaking because so far it was kind of unknown how the olfactory system actually worked for us humans. So I think that's the most noticeable research over the last 50 or 100 years.
And and what scientists would like to discover, right? What is still unknown, and what is like what's the most interesting thing what you want to like unlock?
So I think that there's a lot to there are a lot of things that scientists may be interested in when it comes to olfactory system. But I think that one of the questions that people may be asking themselves are how evolution shaped our olfactory system. Like, why is ethanol so unpleasant for us? And at the same time, it's not unsafe to drink it. You know, why do you feel unpleasant by smelling ethanol, like sulfur molecules and things like that? And also, one key part that I believe that people don't understand quite well is the interplay between smell and emotions. They know they are very intricate. They have a very intricate relationship, but they don't know how they don't know the interplay precisely of the sense of our olfactory system and our emotional system. I believe there are these two questions.
And right, you said you mentioned this Nobel Prize, which was received a little bit more than 10 years ago, and for research it was done like 30 years ago, almost at the end of last century. But if we're comparing researchers and what scientists know about visual or audio senses, so we can say that regarding sense, we are lacking, right? We are lagging behind. Why so? What would be your indication why?
I think it's because our sense of scenting smells is much more complicated than our sense of sight and our auditory system. Because scents involve knowing things at a very small scale, like a molecular level. And I think that the tooling required for understanding things at this small level of detail were not available for a long time. If you compare with our site, I mean, it just involves waves, and waves, it's a thing that has been studied for a century or more, and people understand really well how wave behaves. But when it comes to scents, it involves molecular biology, and the tooling required for understanding molecular biology has become available, I don't know, 50 years ago or less. So I believe it's not like people were not interested. They just didn't have the right tooling for approaching this problem. And now we have the tooling for doing so.
And what is the role of scent in human perception?
So I think that our senses role in general are made to make us react to external stimuli. So if we see something that calls attention, we immediately direct our face towards that. So in a certain way, I believe our olfactory system plays the same role. For instance, I don't know if people precisely know the effect of scenting something in our system in general, our emotional system in our brain. But one thing that I know is that scents affects, for instance, our consumer behavior. Or for instance, if I buy a product in the market, I immediately, a self-care product, of course, I immediately try to feel the smell of it before buying it. So it affects my consumer behavior, and I believe of most of the people. And maybe also it could affect, for instance, the way we choose our romantic partners. I don't know. Maybe people are not aware of that, but it should be studied if the smell of person affect our romantic relationship. I believe that's the two main effects of scenting in our life.
And did you notice about yourself somehow how scent plays in your what role scent plays in your perception of the world?
So as I mentioned, for me, for instance, when I'm buying self-care products, I immediately go and try to feel the smell of it. Because if you take a soap, for instance, all of them are pretty good at cleaning. They have almost the same quality for cleaning. So they have to make their position in the market using other things, other non-functional features. So I believe that the smell gives a product a specific characteristics that influences people behavior to buy them or not. So the role of smell is, I mean, even in food as well. We use our nose to eat, even though we just eat to nutrition purposes. The willingness to eat is influenced by our scent. So I believe that in my life, that's how it happens.
Mm-hmm. And why? So we as the humans, right? Our humanity has a photo camera, right? And so that we can memorize what we see. The audio recorder, memorize and send information for what we hear. Why would humanity need a scent recorder or medium that could record the scent stimulus?
Yeah, so I think we are like multi-sensorial animals, right? So one thing is you seeing the picture of a rose, and the other thing is you smelling it. They are totally different experiences. And I believe that we have evolved to make video recordings and audio recordings, and it gives us a way to kind of retrieve some experiences we liked. And I think that adding the sense of our olfactory system to those experiences would be like adding another layer to the experience that will bring almost 100% match or with what we have recorded in the past. And yeah, I think that will make the recording of experiences complete. It will be almost 100% similar to the original one. Even we could imagine using a virtual reality glass or something like this, and we would be able to almost 100% reproduce what we have lived in the past. Adding smell would be like the top layer to make this incredible.
And the last question, just imagine that in some years, right? So there will be a scent recorder in the market. And what would be the first thing? What would you like to record with that?
So I mean, there are a lot of experience I have lived that there were an associated smell with it. So like the smell of my house in Brazil is very peculiar. And if I don't record it, maybe I will not be able to smell it anymore, you know, because maybe in 30 or 40 years, the house will not be there and the smell will be lost. And I would love to have that smell recorded for, you know, reminding me of how my house was, not only visually, not only in a video recording, but also the smell of it is very peculiar. And anytime I get there, I feel that, and somehow it brings me some nice feelings.
Thank you very much. Thank you for our talk.
Thank you. Thank you.